This is another tutorial about how to use Adobe Animate CC, and we're going to build a car, but we're not going to build the car. We're going to import an image of a car, and then we are going to put wheels on it and make the wheels turn around and make the car move across the screen. The idea of this is for you to see how you can have movie clips on the main timeline where you can control individual elements of it, such as the wheels turning, and have them move across the screen at the same time. So hopefully this will become clear as we go through the tutorial. So we start off by using, once again, ActionScript 3. You can see that we've got our stage here. I'm going to change the stage size so that the width of it is 1500 pixels. And I'll leave the height of it the same. So I want it to be wide, so that we can have a car travelling along it. It'll be more effective. So let's zoom out a little bit so you can see the whole of the, there you go. So our stage size looks like that. You can see that could easily be a banner or something on a website. So to start off with, first thing we're going to do is import an image of a car, and I've already found one, which is here. So I'm simply going to drag that onto the stage, and there it is. I'll move it around a bit. Let's put it so that it sits on the bottom of the stage there. It's a little bit big, so what I'm going to do is just simply resize it. And as I said to you before in class, is that actually a good idea is to do resizing things in Photoshop before you ever start in Animate. But for today it's a simple image and we're not doing very much, so we can get away with it. So there's our car, and he's sitting along the bottom edge of the line. The other thing I think I'm going to do to this is actually just break the image apart, because it's got so much space around the bottom of those wheels, it might be quite hard to keep them rolling along the bottom unless it's actually unless it's the line that I can see. So the first thing I'll do is just simply break it apart, and then there we go, and then I can just move it along when I want to. So we're going to build this in parts. So we've got our car, and now we're going to make the wheels. So we make a new symbol, make sure it's a movie clip. I'm going to call it wheel so that I know what it is. You might have lots of things. You might need to find it again. If you call it Untitled, you won't know what's who. So there it is, and then we're going to build our wheel. And what we're going to do is we're going to use a circle tool, obviously, and I'm going to hit the shift key. I've got black and white selected as the colours, and let's just drag that across, and then doesn't really matter too much what size it is. I'm going to select the whole thing, and then I'm just making sure once again that it's aligned with this little cross, which denotes the actual centre of the movie clip itself. So it's going to be important because we want to rotate, and so we want that to be absolutely centred, and it really is now. And what I think I'm going to do is just zoom in a little bit, and then I'm also going to select the outer, it's the outline of the white. There's the white circle selected. It's an outline or a stroke, and you can change the properties of that stroke by making it thicker. You can change the style, the line style, and all kinds of stuff down there as well, but we don't want to do that at the moment. So I'll make it around, make it quite a lot thicker. And then I'm going to use the line tool. I'm going to turn that thickness back down again on the stroke, just so that if I just left it like this, when you've rotated it, you wouldn't necessarily see that it was rotating. So we need to have some lines that go, oops, that's wrong. Let's try, so I'm going to hit the shift key. I'm going to try and get it as near to that centre as I can, and I'm going to go the same the other way. That's a bit off and a bit long. So, but we can adjust that. So I can just drag that in, and then I'm going to use the arrow keys just to move that down so it really does look a bit more centred on that side, and then on the other side, and then let's have a look and see whether that doesn't look too bad, nor is that. I think that'll do the job for the minute. And then what we need to do next is make the thing turn. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go up to about 40 frames, and I'm going to hit F5, insert, just regular frames. You can also go to insert timeline and then frame. You can see the shortcut right next to it. and then I'm going to make it turn. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to do it with a tween. I'm going to use a classic tween, and what I'm going to do is about every 10 seconds I'm going to turn it a quarter of the way around. So I'm going to put an F6, F60 note change, and this is where we change it. So I'm going to then turn that 45 degrees. I'm going to do it again at 20, another F6, and then I'm going to turn it again. And I'm hitting that shift key again because I want those turns to be even, because wheels do that. And then at 30, another F6. Oops, that was F5, sorry, let's try again. Another F6, and I'll turn it again. And then lastly, at around 40, another F6, and we should, if my calculations are correct, be back where we started. So let's see whether that's true, and let's see that you've got it turning the right way around. If you're turning it, if you've done it by mistake and you do it backwards, so if it's turning that way and you want it to turn that way, you can actually just reverse the frames. And sometimes reversing frames is a really useful thing to know how to do, especially if, I'll just show you how to do it. Right, actually, you just grab all the frames, and then you hit Control, and then you hit reverse frames, wherever that is. Where has it gone? It is, there it is, reverse frames. I'm not going to hit it because I don't want to reverse them, but it's a useful thing to know. Okay, so that's our wheel. We've made our wheel. We're happy with that. It's turning. It's doing all that we need it to do. Go back to scene 1. Now, normally what I'd say is when you're building an animation, you put different objects on different layers, but actually we want to attach our wheels to the car, and we want the wheels to stay with the car. And I'm worried that if we have them on a different layer, that they might go slightly out of sync with the car, what the car's doing. So in this case, what we're going to do is, I'm going to zoom into that car a bit more, is we're going to put them on the same layer as the car. So we're just going to drag it down there, a bit big, so we can resize that. Again, shift, and I'm just going to try and line that up as best as I can on that car. Let's see if that does the trick. That looks about alright. Once you're happy with the size, it's probably a good idea not to try and resize the other one. It might come out slightly different. So I'm going to simply copy and paste that, and then move it on top of the other wheel. Okay, so let's test our moving, see how we're getting on so far. Those wheels, the car won't move, but the wheels should. There we go. They're not moving very fast. You could speed that up by removing some frames, but I'll leave it as it is for now. And we'll try and make the animation of the car not go very fast, so it looks like it's realistic. Okay, so the next stage, well, the first thing to notice, of course, is that I've now somehow managed, I'll zoom out, but I've somehow managed to get the wheels so that they're slightly off the bottom of the stage. I don't really want that, we want them to be actually on the stage. So I'll go in and select it all. And I'm just going to move the whole thing up just a tiny bit. I'm using the arrow keys to do this again, so it makes it a bit easier. There we go. So that's sitting a bit more neatly. And then what we'll do is I'm going to go up to about frame 70, and I'm going to enter the frames again. So I've now got 70 normal frames on there. Everything's on this one layer. So actually I'll rename it car and wheels. There we go. So we know what's actually on that frame. And then you'll see that as soon as I turn this into a tween, by creating a classic tween, if I go back to there and select that one, you can see that now it's built a container around not only the car but the wheels themselves. So the only thing that I'm left to do is to put the F6 at the other end of the animation, and then move the car where I want it. So I'm going to zoom out in order to do that effectively, so you can see. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to frame 1. I still want the car to be on the stage at the beginning, so I'm just going to move it off the stage. And then at frame 70, let's jump back to where it was, but we can go and move it off the stage at the other end. So if we test that, it should drive past us. There we go. Oh, it's going very fast. So we need to slow that down. So the way that we could, there's two ways of slowing it down. First of all, I could slow it down. More frames equals slower. Less frames is going to happen faster. So I can just simply drag this playhead anywhere I want between the two keyframes and hit F5 a lot. Or if I know that I want to actually add quite a lot of frames because that would go way too fast, I can simply drag that key. Whoops, if I can do it properly, I can drag that keyframe. Still can't do it. Why won't it do it? Come on, go away. Let's get rid of the playhead. Maybe that's confusing it. There we go. I can drag that out to as many more. So I've doubled the size of it, I've doubled the length of it, which means I should have slowed it down about half as fast. Let's see if that's any better. It is a bit better, but perhaps what we need to do is to speed up the wheels. I think, how on earth can you do that? So you've got a couple of options of how to access the wheel. First thing, you can just simply double click the wheel movie clip in the library. There's also an asset container which has got the wheels in there, or you can, if you want to do it in place because you want to keep testing how fast that car's going to go, it's probably a good idea to actually do it in situ. So you double click and you keep double clicking until you get into that wheel's timeline. And then I think what we need to do, we want it to speed it up. So I'm going to drag those keyframes much nearer to each other, like that, trying to keep them again with an even space between them. And the last one. Now, if I don't get rid of those other frames, they'll turn and then it won't turn, and then it will turn again because it loops. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to highlight all the frames that I don't want to include, and then control right click, and I'm simply going to remove the frames, which is up here. So now you can see, and we can stay there. You can test the movie from anywhere you are, so it's a good idea to test the movie from here because I might want to come in and tweak it a bit more. So Command Enter. And that doesn't look too bad. I think we need to slow that car down. But hopefully you've got a general idea now of how these elements all fit together. And it's very tempting to have a look at the luggage. Maybe the luggage could move slightly as the car wobbles along. You can change the colour of the wheels. You can make it completely customisable. But hopefully that gives you a good idea of how movie clips fit together and then how they become part of a bigger animation cycle. Thanks for watching.